So we arrive at the venue and ask to park, and they say, no. Do you know where City Hall is? No. Do you have a phone? Yes. Well, open your phone and search City Hall and go drive there. You'll be able to park there, and we'll shuttle bus you over to the stadium.
Wow. If you don't have time, if you're just showing up right in time for it, that seems like it would take a chunk out of it.
Right. So we ignored that advice because City Hall was on the other end of town. Yeah. We just drove over a few blocks and parked on a street from someone's house. Who cares? Saved a spot for my brother who was coming from Toronto. Got him a parking spot. We then trekked over to the stadium and figured we'd grab a bite to eat before the game. And it was clear that all the nearby establishments were not prepared for this number of people because, which sort of makes sense, they added an extra 10,000 seats or something onto the venue.
Okay.
So an extra 10,000 people is a lot of people when you're set up for, in this case it was probably like 23,000 people. So when there's 33,000 people, you're not ready. Everywhere was full. There was a lineup everywhere. And we were there like 2 hours before the game started.
You had 100 years to prepare for this.
You'd think so. Well, I didn't. I mean, we had like a week.
No, not you, but the shopkeeps, the owners.
I suppose.
Fry up a couple extra hot dogs or pogos.
Yes, give me some pogos.
Yeah. What'd you get?
So we wandered around, and eventually we were like, oh, let's just go to the Double Pizza I saw a couple blocks back. And there was a line out the door at the Double Pizza. We were like, forget it. We'll eat after. So we went into, they had this sort of like fan jam thing where you would walk in and it was like a festival celebrating hockey. And there were crazy events like shoot a puck into a small hole.
Okay.
Or shoot the puck into 4 small holes. And that was like, sponsored by, I don't know, Kraft Dinner. And then beside it, it's like sponsored by Maytag. It was like shoot a puck into a dryer. And then it was a lot of basically the same things.
Shooting a puck into
a lot of shooting pucks.
Things sponsored by companies.
Then I laughed really hard because one of them was like, VR headsets. Come have a VR experience. And the VR experience was driving a Zamboni.
Oh.
So I'm thinking, of all the VR experiences you could have, to drive in a large oval is not the most exciting now, is it?
Well, could you have driven in any shape you wanted? Could you?
I suppose you could have. I don't know.
You're VRing. You could have done whatever you wanted.
I wonder if that VR experience is just like riding the Zamboni, not even driving it. I didn't experience it myself.
You turn to your left and you see someone. You see the old man driving
it. And you're going around the curve. All right, this is exciting.
It could have been worse. It could have been you're firing pucks into Maytag dryers again.
Yeah.
It's like, I could do this for real just beside this place.
And then we went indoors to a section where they were, selling beer. And I want to say the only like nice exhibit that was there was they had a list of the 100 greatest players in NHL history, and there were portraits commissioned of all of them. So that was nice. It was well done. That's nice. But other than that, like even that indoor section was like, there was a big upper deck tent, twice as big as any other tent. I was like, oh, maybe they're giving away hockey cards. Nah, hockey cards are digital now. You can buy an e-pack of digital cards and open up your pack of digital hockey cards.
Why?
And swipe through them? I don't know, man.
So
they had a big empty tent with like 2 people sitting on stools. Like no boxes behind them. It was just so strange.
Digital cards. Do you trade them digitally?
I suppose you could, yeah. There's probably an app and you could exchange your digital cards.
Is there any way to stop you from just copy pasting those cards and making as many as you want?
I mean, yeah, just screen grab and then trade and screen grab and trade. You've done it, right? Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what the point is. I'm turned into an old fogey and don't understand these children with their VRs and their e-cards.
You burnt the tent down.
Yeah. No, I after not very long was just like, well, forget this. Let's go into the venue.
Yeah.
Because what are we doing here anyway? Let's go to our seats, find our seats. We went into the venue and figured, we'll get some hot dogs here. Now, one thing I didn't mention, it was frigid. It was freezing cold. I did.
You did mention that. That was the way you opened.
I wore 2 pairs of socks.
Okay.
under my boots, in my boots.
Yeah.
I wore a pair of sweatpants under my pants. I wore a shirt, 2 sweaters, and a winter coat. Okay. And 2 hats. I figured I'll probably be pretty cozy with all of this.
Yeah.
I've got a hood. I've got a scarf. I'm all ready to go. 2 pairs of gloves. I just figured it's going to be cold. I'm going to be probably mostly sitting still. So let's double up on everything.
Yeah.
I brought some extra blankets to put on my lap in case that might get cold, or to sit on just in case. And we brought a bunch of those heat packs.
Okay, that's what I was going to say. Grab a bunch of those.
Yeah. We had enough for all of our boots and all of our gloves, and then a couple extras.
Okay.
So we went and bought some hot dogs and beers. The hot dogs, we found out after we bought the hot dogs that we were actually nowhere close to our seats. So we were like, okay, let's just eat them here. And honestly, it was so cold that the hot dogs were not hot by the time we ate them, which was like a minute after buying them.
Yeah.
They were just, garbage hot dogs. They were kind of big.
Garbage hot dogs.
They weren't great, and you had to dress them yourself. So they were just, and it was funny. I think we ordered something like, okay, so it'll be 7 hot dogs and a chili. And the guy didn't believe it. It's like, yeah, 7 hot dogs. It's not all for me. Relax.
This is Ottawa. We don't serve 7 hot dogs to one person.
And then they just sort of lied them on a table in front of us. Like, you guys got a box or something? What's going on? And so they found some scrappy cardboard box that was falling apart, and they just was served as a tray.
They really were not prepared.
They were not prepared. We ate all those hot dogs, started drinking our beer. And even when the beer was bought, I wasn't done my previous beer. I was like, oh, don't open them. Like, I don't want to put it in my pocket. It's like, oh, we have to open them. It's like, the last one wasn't open. I just bought a can and had to open it myself. And he's like, well, they did it wrong in there. I'm like, well, anyway, all right.
They did it wrong.
Right? Because then if I could put it in my pocket, this next issue wouldn't come up. The beer was frozen by the time I was done. It was beer slush. Yeah. So I'm not done my first beer. I could at least put the other one on an inside pocket. It'll stay warm, which is usually not what you want from a beer.
Well, you gotta do something to it. You gotta desperate times.
Yeah, and so beers were frozen before you were done drinking them. You were just sort of drinking beer slush. It was kind of gross. I was really happy in purchasing the one chili. Everyone else went for hot dogs. I was like, no, that chili's gonna stay warm.
Probably did. It warmed your hands for a little bit too.
Yeah, not that much. It was really just that the top of the chili got frozen, and then once I dug in a bit, it was steaming warm.
Yeah.
But our seats were great.
Okay, the one positive thing so far.
They were great for a football game. For a hockey game, not so much. We were basically eye level with everyone's elbows, which were about 40 feet away, if not more.
Okay.
So the ice surface is in the middle of a football field.
Okay.
But if I'm sitting at the edge of a football field, it's still a while away.
Yeah.
And there were a couple people who ran to the ice during the game, and security came chasing after them. Someone ran off the stands and ran towards the playing surface.
For what?
I don't know. For fun.
Sounds dangerous.
It was. They slipped and fell and slammed their head into the boards.
You got a bunch of blades.
And then security came. Well, no, they didn't go onto the ice. They just wanted to get close to the boards.
Okay.
And security ran after them. They were slipping and falling. It was very silly. There was a puddle of water where I was sitting, but that was ice by the end of the game. I don't know where all this water came from, why there was so much water. And
it's melted ice.
I suppose, but why was it water? It had been freezing all day.
I don't know.
So we ended up sitting in the cold, basically watching the big screen TV at the venue. Yeah. Because we were at a space where we could just sort of see everyone's upper bodies moving around.
Okay.
And I specifically watched for a while because I could tell by players' movement what was happening in the play, but it was not an ideal viewing experience.
No.
I noticed that by the second half of the game, a lot of the seats near me were vacant because people were just standing higher up because it was a better view.
Okay.
Long story short, the Canadians played terribly. They lost 3-0, and they did not deserve to win.
They were probably cold too.
They were probably cold too, but both teams were probably cold.
Yeah.
One team just tried harder and won. Fortunately, sort of in the grander scope of things, the Ottawa Senators this year are an even worse team than the Montreal Canadiens. So when a Ottawa fan came up to me after the game, my brother and I, and said, "Oh, Montreal sucks," my brother responded with, "Both teams suck, let's be honest." And he was like, "Yeah," and walked away.
I thought it was going to be some kind of, at least shoving him to the ground.
No,
type of deal.
Nothing like that. No, that's
very mature.
A very Canadian, your team sucks argument.
Both teams are really bad.
We both stink. That's true. Let's go home and hang our heads in shame.
Let's go put our socks over the fire, over the heaters. Yeah.
By the time the game was over, I did not feel my feet. And I had boot heaters and everything. And I was like dancing between periods, just trying to get blood in my feet. We got some hot ciders between periods just to help warm us up even more.
Okay.
But it was frigid.
Yeah.
It was awful. The experience was neat. But damn, was it too cold.
Will you do it again in 100 years?
Yeah, sure.
Or will you just stay home and watch it on
giant television? I would do it again when I'm in my 130s.
Yeah.
But presuming by that point I'm mostly cyborg.
Yeah.
And I won't have cold feet. I'll have robot feet.
Maybe just a head. Maybe like a Krang situation when you're inside a big man body.
Yeah. And then I could maybe fly above the ice.
Yeah.
But they probably have regulations against that. I would just know to buy tickets further up.
Yeah, if anything, the 100 years will give you that experience.
Yeah. And the other neat thing is probably even colder up there.
Just the elevation?
No, just windier.
Oh, okay.
Bryan Adams did the music between the second and third period, live performance.
Like he scored it? Oh, okay.
No, he didn't score it.
Just take a stab at orchestrating.
And, that was pretty good. Everyone liked Bryan Adams. He put on a good show.
Yeah.
There are other weird things like in Washington, D.C., there were a lot of like manufactured moments. So as soon as we got there, they were like, "Everyone look in the cup holder in front of you. There's a lavalier, and if you press that button once, it'll light up." And then you saw like the other side of the crowd, there were a bunch of red lights and white lights making the word Ottawa. So they put specifically like, "You're a red light because you're sitting here, so it's going to make our word."
Oh, okay. Was this announced by Dan Aykroyd?
No, some woman.
Okay.
And I don't like that corny shit. No.
Doesn't make you tear up?
No, not at all. I was like, why are we like, there's nothing honest about this. Here's this stupid lavalier. It'll light up. And they said, "Oh, it's got a flashing mode. Don't put it on flashing mode." We're not ready for that. Evidently, they were never ready for that. They just bought these like, well, they've got 3 modes. We're going to use that first one.
Yeah.
The other 2? Oh, no. It has nothing to do with us. Not all the lavaliers worked because they were out in the cold so long.
Yeah.
My brother's never worked. He seemed pretty upset about it. Meanwhile, I was like, mine works. This is stupid. And during the Bryan Adams show, they had on the big video screen, it said, "Please take out your cell phone and turn the flashlight on." So that there would be lights all around the crowd.
Pay me for my battery?
Like, I don't, like, if Bryan Adams says, like, light up your lighter or whatever, that's one thing. Or if people just start putting their lighter out.
Put your lighter out, sure.
Yeah.
I always
but
hated it.
when we're doing a bunch of cell phones and you're specifically asking me so you could get a nice TV moment, screw you. I don't like this. You can go screw.
I always wondered when I see those moments on TV, everyone taking out their lighters or more recently their cell phones, which I do not like.
No.
Does it just happen? Does one person start off? But now I'm thinking maybe someone just announces it. Everyone take out your cell phones.
Take out your cell phones now and light up the flashlight and wave it around like you love Bryan Adams. Like, so weird. So, neat experience. Very, very cold. I did not feel well yesterday.
Okay.
I may be coming down with a cold. Or not yesterday. The following day. I may be coming down with a cold, but I don't think it was it. Because I was very sore in my neck and back and jaw. And I think that was just from, like, shivering
Tensing
for hours.
And shivering, yeah.
Yeah, for shivering for hours on end.
Yeah, I guess so. It's kind of a workout to be really cold.
It kind of is.
Yeah.
My jaw especially was very, very sore.
Yeah. I don't know. You do a lot with your jaw when you're cold. Like, you really clench it.
You clench it. Yeah. I had my head down and my shoulders up and I clenched like this.
I don't know why that helps. It's a terrifying image, but maybe better if you're bundled up and I don't see all of your face.
I was quite bundled. My face, though, was exposed basically the entire time, and fine.